Check 1 2, check 1 2. 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 Check 1 2, check 1 2.
You know something I love almost as much as I love America? Is a great deal. Also novelty socks. If you donate any amount of money to PragerU right now, you will get these magnificent Star-Spangled Banner socks made here in the US of A. Go to PragerU.com. You know something I love almost as much and get these charming and beautiful socks. Also novelty socks. If you donate any amount of money to PragerU right now, you will get these magnificent Star-Spangled Banner socks made here in the U.S. of A.
Along the Guadalupe River became a nightmare.
You know something
Bunk beds were ripped apart, teddy bears covered in mud, a girl's sandal caught in a tree branch 15 feet above ground. The flood didn't just kill, it erased.
Star-Spangled Banner socks made here in the U.S. of A.
Along the Guadalupe River became a nightmare. Bunk beds were ripped apart. So how did it happen, and why wasn't anyone prepared? The answers lie in a perfect storm of science, geography, and failure. Texas Hill Country is beautiful, but deadly. It's part of what scientists call Flash Flood Alley, a crescent-shaped stretch of land known for its steep hills, thin soil, and rapid runoff. When rain hits here, it doesn't sink in, it flows very fast.
Let's check. Let me see what's going on.
Phenomenon developed. A mesoscale convective vortex, a swirling pocket of air about 30 miles wide. It grabbed moisture from the Gulf of Mexico.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
One after another,
check
raining
1 2.
thunderstorms struck the same area again and again. Over 1.8 trillion gallons of rain fell on the Edwards Plateau
Check 1
in
2.
just a
Check
few
1
hours.
2. Check 1
That's
2.
4 months of rain
Check 1
in a
2.
single night.
Check 1 2.
National Weather Service did issue alerts.
1 2.
Flood
Check
watches
1
were
2.
posted Thursday afternoon,
Check
but their
1 2.
models predicted 3 to 5 inches of rain, not 10, not 18.
All right, guys, trying to figure this out. I'm trying to check out what I got going. So this is just a test. This is just a test.
Not 10, not 18.
All right, guys, trying to figure this out. I'm trying to check out what I got going. So this is just a test. This is just a test. All right, it
Not
sounds pretty
10,
good.
not 18.
Sounds pretty good. All right, guys, trying to figure this out. I'm trying to check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Trying to figure this out. I'm trying to check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess it sounds pretty good. We'll check it out. Check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess it sounds pretty good. We'll check it out. Check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess it sounds pretty good. We'll check it out. Check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess it sounds pretty good. We'll check it out. Check out what I got going. So, okay, so it's looking like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess it sounds pretty good. We'll check it out. Check out what I got going. So, okay. I'm trying to do. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Multi-stream. Ooh wee, oh yeah. Well, okay, I guess. All right, so it's looking like it's doing something. You got one person watching, and I guess that's probably me. All right, so we got, let's see here, shorts.
Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to try this in the gym, y'all.
All right, DJ Delta.
Am I going live with the shorts?
This is the exact machine they used to write Super Mario Bros. Check this out.
Huh. Well, I know one thing, it looks pretty good and it sounds good on what I got right now, so I like it. I mean, I can do that. We can go up into there, get that popping, just the mainstream, and there you go. You know, I like that. And that's all I got, you know. It's just a test. Just a test. But I will be going live real soon here. Just trying to make sure that I got everything down packed. I want you guys to have a good experience. So, I'm going to see what my dog, Kevin.
The dark truth about shaving your head with a razor that nobody is telling you about. Did you know that razor shaving makes you...
What's going on, America? Care from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And yeah, I think I need to try to make a little sense out of the nonsense concerning the Jeffrey Epstein list. So, as you may have heard, the Cash Patel and the DOJ, Pam Bondi, and I don't know how many other people. I don't know if Dan Bongino is involved in this or whatever. I'm pretty sure all three of those people got together and collaborated before they came out and said that there's nothing to see. That's right. There is no list, and there apparently isn't any blackmail or anything like that. And, you know, be honest with you, it's the first time that I've heard something come out of the Trump administration, or at least some people in his administration, that I have to say, yes, that smells like shite. That smells like shite. But I got a gut feeling why they had to come out and give us this shite. So just my thoughts on it. I know a lot of people are upset about it, and maybe knowing who all was involved in, you know, that whole debacle is really, really important to you, to where it's like, man, we got to get to the bottom of this. But I got a good feeling we'll never get to the bottom of it for, you know, a couple reasons. I think that they all had good intentions when, you know, before they were put into office. And I think, you know, they, you know, not like ignorance is bliss sometimes. You know, it's easy to say, man, you know what I'm going to do when I do this, and you know, they need to do, and you know what? But when you get in and you start unraveling it, I got a good feeling they unraveled more than they thought that they would unravel. And they probably realized that, okay, wait a minute. We talked about releasing this, but we had no idea the extent of the people that were involved in this, or even the countries that might have been behind, you know, propping him up, or the agencies. And unfortunately, oftentimes people that are responsible for keeping civility and relationships amongst other dignitaries and countries and stuff like that, they might put that above the priority of transparency, even if it's something this heinous, especially if it, you know, outs a couple big time people in other countries that once you learn about it, you can't do nothing anyway. And my gut tells me that after looking at the list, they probably were like, look, these are some very, very powerful people who we have to do business with. And if we come out and we out these people, business and relations with these countries could be damaged. And at the end of the day, we can't hold them accountable. We can't prosecute them. So are we doing it just to say, look, everybody, these are all the nasty, stinking folks that was involved in this. And thank you. Thank you for coming. That's it. Because when you come out with that list, you better be able to back it up. You can't just say, we're just going to show you all the people that was involved in this, and then say, so, yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it. I want to see some action. And I don't think they're able to commit to some action based off of the people on that list. So it would just be a list for nothing, just to tarnish some people's reputations, which is good. But America might be looking at this and saying, you know, maybe the people can't handle everything. Maybe the people right now wouldn't be able to really handle the fact that some key agencies might have been behind this, or some key dignitaries from other countries, or other countries might have been involved. And you know, you weigh the pros and the cons. Do we take the PR hit after promising all of this and knowing that the MAGA base is definitely going to be going, that's a bunch of shite, and we just hope that it blow over? Or do we create another crap storm by releasing the list, and then everybody demand that something be done, and we're going, well, we can't do nothing with them. Well, why are we doing business with them? Why are we doing business with England? Why are we doing business with this country? Why are we doing business with this person? You know, so I think they kicked the hornet's nest and didn't realize how many hornets was in it, and thus they now got to kind of walk it back. You can't just put half the list out, just the names and, you know, folks that really won't impact anything. You know, if you're going to put it out, put it out. If you're not, don't do it, and let the chips fall where they may. And some people are going to say, you know what, this is that important. This is the hill I want to die on. Yeah, we all know some foul people were involved in that, but I hope we're able to continue to press on, take care of just making life better for everybody right now, and preventing anything like that from happening, you know, again. But, you know, they do need to take some criticism for this, because they open their mouths prematurely talking about, oh, y'all, ooh, y'all, I bet y'all can't wait. We're going to drop this mess out. Y'all go, ooh, everybody going to be shocked. Now, all of a sudden, we see nothing. Jeffrey Epstein definitely hung himself. Yeah, there's nothing to see here. Thank you all for coming. So we're going to see how they handle this from a PR perspective. But yeah, we all know it's shite. But I just think the shite is so deep that they're like, whoa, the folks ain't ready to eat this type of shite right here. So we're going to go ahead and eat it. So God bless y'all. God bless America. I'll probably be talking about this during my live stream. Probably do a live stream this morning. So check out my show. Try to do it every night. You can donate to the channel. Got links below to do that.
Yeah, shout out to
support the channel.
Kevin's Corner.
Like and share and all that good stuff. All right. God bless. Take care.
It's easier for the Cleveland Browns to win a Super Bowl than for you to fit into that dress. That's what I heard from my husband. After 10 years of marriage, I cried for days. This morning,
for the Epstein stuff, and this is Trump talking about it. I guess this is from today.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney, Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the native set?
Yeah, sure. If
could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
That sounds like he's guilty. I'm just going to say it. Somebody's got to say it. It sounds like he's guilty. Like, that's what I would say if I was guilty. You know, like, what is this?
Tell the truth. It is true. God dang, Trump.
So yeah, anyway, yeah, it's a bad look. It's definitely a bad look. It looks really, really, really bad. And so anyway, L take from Trump. It is Trump. Yeah, look. Let me see.
That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
Absolutely. By the way, this is the answer. Absolutely, we want to waste the time on this. 100%. The idea that numbers of heads of state and then powerful and influential people were involved in a cover-up that involved, non-consensual forced sex, rape with young and underage girls. Abso-fucking-lutely, that is it.
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Well, did she answer? Like, well, wait a minute. She did. Wait. I paused. Yeah, there's a longer one. Yeah, I want to see this right here.
We have Texas. We have tragedy with what happened.
Okay, here we go.
Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said...
You had the files on your desk. You had the list on your desk. You had the files on your desk. That's why it's getting attention, because you said you had it. That's the reason. What happened?
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed.
That's
meaning
correct.
The file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God.
Who was in the video, though? Was it identifiable people? Well, wait a minute. No, yeah. So if he's got all of these videos, who was in the videos?
Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released. Never going to see.
That's not the point. People get arrested for this all the time, and then actual police and investigators make sure and they confirm it's the person that they're convicting, and they do this all the time. This is bullshit.
Janet! When's the last time you had a vegetable?
Tuesday month.
Damn it, Janet! Meet Groons, a daily pack of 8 delicious gummies filled with all the essential
light a day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the...
Well, it's not going to be conclusive when the minute is missing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's what is this?
Evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999.
Yeah.
So every night the video is reset.
Yeah.
And every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
Guys, what do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about this? Is this a cover-up? I think it's a cover-up too, man. I think it's some real fucking bullshit. And, yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on. It's all a magic show. They want this to blow over so bad. I think they do. And, yeah, there it is. Do you suppose they managed to erase it all before the Trump team got in? If they had managed to erase it all before the Trump team got in, then they should have never said that they had the list. That's the thing, is you should have never said, if you said, oh, well, we don't have the list, as soon as you get in, people would be like, oh, yeah, because Biden deleted it, right? That would have been easy. It would have been so easy. People would say that, it would have been over. But no, now this is it. It's fucked up? I think so. Trump win streak is over. It makes them look awful. I don't think that they understand how big of a deal this is for the average public. This, in my opinion, is like a top 5 issue. It really is. It's a massive top 5 issue. And also, keep in mind, Biden didn't release this either. So it's not like this is some kind of fucking Trump L that's unique. Biden didn't release it, and Trump didn't release it. No other state has released it. In my opinion, top 3, maybe it's top 3, but it's definitely up there. I mean, on social media, it's definitely in the top 3. For voters at large, maybe not, but I think on social media, it definitely is. So, yeah. Anyway, so Pam Bondi is screwing Trump with this L, and I guarantee a third party somewhere in the world has evidence, and as well as holding it for blackmail. That is the only way that I can explain and put all of the pieces together in a way that makes sense based off of what's public, is that there is a third party that has evidence and has these files. And if either side of the political party releases these files and doesn't release them in their full capacity, then that third party will release the files. Obviously, the most likely outcome for that is either Mossad, China, or Russia. One of the three of them probably has these files, and so this is effectively a Cold War, right? And so nobody can release the files because it's not Cold War, it's MAD, mutually assured destruction. So it just basically clears the entire board of everyone. In my opinion, I think the only probability of this ever happening, like in the future, is if we elect a really young politician that doesn't have the same connections that like these older people do. I think that this will eventually come out, but it will come out in like 20 years, right? Or like 15 years. So JD, yeah, it may be JD Vance or like AOC or somebody like that. JD. Maybe they would be willing to release them because, they don't have those same connections. It'll never happen. Well, and again, I'm being 50 years. Guys, I'm being optimistic right now, okay? I'm being optimistic because I try to look on, I don't really try to look on the bright side of things, but I try to like see different perspectives. This is, I think, a very big turning point, though. It does look really bad. JD doesn't have connections. What are you all, retarded? JD is not as connected as somebody like Bill Gates. No, he's not. Or he's not as connected as somebody like Jeffrey Epstein or Donald Trump is. Like, he hasn't been in the game for 50 years. He hasn't even been alive for 50 years. So if you can't understand what I'm saying with that, I think you're being intentionally dishonest. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee that he's going to do it. I'm just saying it's a degree of probability. And I said AOC as well. This isn't a, oh, well, next, we have to vote for another Republican. No, I think this is the only way that it would ever happen is that if it was a young person that's been totally disconnected from like that culture as well, right? And so that's it. Is this a bigger conspiracy than JFK? No, I think JFK is a lot bigger because there is a chance that, and there's a possibility that all of the files were deleted and there isn't a list. And they were just talking shit and they didn't actually have the list ever. That's definitely a possibility. Now, is that what I would guess? I mean, maybe not. I kind of would guess that would happen, but I genuinely have no idea. And so anyway, person's family needs to be disconnected as well. All the friends, associates, family, etc. Yeah, definitely. The list they had was the one that leaked already. What if Elon's party came to power? I don't think that's really going to happen. I think that this is going to make Trump look bad.
Don't mix pink salt with lemon and 2 other ingredients if you don't want to donate your entire wardrobe in less than a week. Don't believe me? Give me 60 seconds to explain.
Trump turning on Putin, claiming he's had enough of him and his antics.
A lot of people are dying, and it should end. And I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Well, now Trump is seeming to put his money where his mouth is, now saying that Ukraine will have the weapons to defend itself under his administration.
Nah, man, come on now.
We want to put defensive weapons because Putin is not. He's not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
All right, this is a stunning turnaround for Trump, right, to say the least. I mean, just as recently as last week, right, this all started because the administration paused the delivery of missiles to Ukraine, something that Trump was asked about today.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. What did you tell me?
Well, we will in just a moment. We've got some new reporting on this, and Natasha Bertrand is breaking some significant news on that in just a moment. But of course, despite the criticism today that Trump has had for Putin, the reason it is so stunning and so shocking to anyone watching is because we have all heard Trump shower Putin with praise for years.
I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. I knew Putin very well, got along with him actually great.
Putin is a nicer person than I am. So now I like Putin. Now, Putin called me a genius, by the way.
Sometimes Trump.
And since the beginning of Putin's war in Ukraine, Trump has done something even more than those personal accolades, right? He has actually repeated Putin's talking points about the war again and again.
A dictator without elections.
CNN
Zelensky better move fast, or
Trump
he's not
look
going
bad,
to have
though.
a country left. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
And Trump, remember this, he told Time magazine, and I quote him, "I think what caused the war to start was when they started talking about joining NATO," referring to Ukraine. That, of course, is one of the key propaganda talking points from Putin. And today, longtime Putin ally, top Russian security official now, Dmitry Medvedev, is mocking Trump for, he says, flip-flopping, writing online, quote, "The American is riding his favorite political swing again. How should we treat this? Nothing. Continue to achieve the goals of the special military operation." Natasha Bertrand is live in Washington with some real breaking news on this. Natasha, you are getting new information about what sort of sparked all of this, which appears to be suddenly the U.S. paused weapon shipments to Ukraine last week. All of a sudden, there was this pause, and we just heard Trump deny knowing who ordered the pause, but you've learned what happened.
Yeah, Aaron, so my colleague Zach Cohen and I are getting a little bit of a better sense of the timeline here and just how all of this played out. What we're told is that Secretary of Defense Hegseth did not actually inform the White House prior to approving that pause on the weapons shipments. And that pause actually came about because President Trump last month, when he was on a trip to NATO with Secretary of Defense Hegseth, with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, he asked them for essentially a state of play when it comes to the U.S. weapons stockpiles because, of course, Iran and Israel were attacking each other and U.S. troops in the Middle East were put at risk. And so he essentially wanted an assessment of, hey, do we have enough in the region in order to protect U.S. troops if they need to defend themselves? But Secretary of Defense Hegseth then kind of delegated that request down to the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, Elbridge Colby, who ultimately himself made that recommendation to pause this weapons shipment. But Secretary Hegseth ultimately did sign off on it. Now, after all of that, we're told that pause was not actually told to the White House in real time. The White House found out about it in large part through press reports, including Secretary of State Rubio, who is also the president's national security advisor, was not looped in on this beforehand. And so we're told that after he found out about this pause, Trump actually pressed Hegseth to release at least part of that shipment of Patriot interceptors to the Ukrainians because, as we have heard Trump say repeatedly in recent days, the Ukrainians need those defensive weapons. And we're told that he sent much the same message to President Zelensky during that phone call on Friday, in which, yet again, he also downplayed his role in the decision to pause these weapon shipments, Aaron.
All right, Natasha, thank you very much. And incredible, though, what you're saying, that this was paused and the White House was not informed. The National Security Advisor was not informed. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Retired General Wesley Clark and David Axelrod are with me now. So, David, you spent a lot of time working in a White House. So when you hear this, that the Defense Secretary signs off on pausing weapons shipments to Ukraine.
Procrastination fueled by trauma response, not laziness. You keep putting things off.
Quote, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? That post by Elon Musk this afternoon gets at a serious question, prompted by MAGA fans, among others, after the Justice Department asserted in a memo that convicted sex offender and multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein did not blackmail high-profile clients, was not murdered before he was found dead in his jail cell in 2019, and in fact had no client list. Despite the fact that the very same administration officials are now asserting there is no there there, many of them were the ones ginning up the controversy before President Trump was reelected and while they were in office. The Justice Department memo, first obtained by Axios, also comes 1 month after the billionaire Tesla founder took to his platform X as his alliance with President Trump dissolved. Quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason why they have not been made public, unquote. Musk deleted that post 2 days later, but the new memo has Musk posting this meme, among others. It's a guy putting on progressively more clown makeup with the text, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list, with full clown regalia. The desk part refers to a February clip. The list is on my desk. A February clip from Fox that was played of Pam Bondi. Take a listen.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
It's where.
But here was Attorney General Bondi earlier today.
Can't let everybody run
I was asked
shit.
a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Trump was asked about the memo today by a New York Post reporter, and he expressed indignation.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Mr. President, the reason people are talking about this guy is because people serving in the highest levels of your administration have been talking about this guy for years and talking about how the Epstein list needs to be released. Here's then Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance in October 2024.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's Kash Patel on a podcast just over a year before he became FBI director.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent turned right-wing podcaster, is now the FBI deputy director. Here he is on his show in February. He was named deputy director just a few weeks later.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go, ever. Ever.
Bill Clinton's spokesperson released a statement in 2019 saying that the former president, quote, knows nothing about the terrible crimes. We should note the presence of one's name in the files does not mean they were involved in any way in sex trafficking or having sex with any of Epstein's victims. Here's Alina Habba, now interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. This is her in February.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
I'm shocked that none of that's been released. In February this year, Attorney General Bondi teased the imminent arrival of the Epstein files, and President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., posted about the news, quote, LFG, an acronym for Let's Effing Go. A week later, the Trump administration invited a slew of conservative MAGA influencers to the White House, purporting to give them a first look at a batch of documents labeled the Epstein files, phase 1, but none of it was a smoking gun. The vast majority of the information had already been made publicly available. CNN's Evan Perez reported in March that Attorney General Bondi directed FBI agents, in some cases, to drop their work on China and Iran and focus on redacting the files before their release. Remember, Trump made part of this his platform. Here he is during the 2024 campaign.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house, no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for any reason, click the button under this video.
So what's really going on here? I mean, what's really going on? Well, experts, such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who's been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they are also now relying on the fact that because it's MAGA influencers who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point, that while there might not be a list, there are certainly files that can be released. There's a trove of information that the Trump administration is right now refusing to share. Information that could well point to the powerful folks who availed themselves of the sex trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein. If you go, for example, to the FBI vault online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted. Now, sure, of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim and testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes that there's still more evidence that hasn't been published, including, quote, Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation into his death, has been made public. So while there may not be an official client list to be released, as the administration is now saying, there's a lot of extra information that is not being made public, despite Trump's Justice Department basically now saying case closed. This isn't going to go away.
And Pam Bondi went on television and said, I have a videotape of kids getting abused. I followed this case closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Really? Thousands of children got raped? Yeah. Who raped them? Where are the rapists? Like, why aren't they in jail? What? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff. Like, very dangerous.
Well,
I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you would act.
All right, Jamal, what do you think hearing that from Tucker?
Well, first of all, Tucker is being dangerous by alluding to something like a revolution when we're talking about the MAGA people, because we know that MAGA forces have been willing to use violence in pursuit of their political aims. We saw it on January 6th. You know, Gretchen said something a second ago about is Trump covering for Pam Bondi, but the question also may be, is Pam Bondi covering for Trump? We just really don't know. Donald Trump has been very forceful. He's a great television performer. When the question of Epstein comes up, every time he dissembles, he attacks the reporter. Remember before, he'll release the UFO files, he'll release the JFK files. Will you release the Epstein files? Well, I don't know if we should, do that. Innocent people may get wrapped up in that. I just think something's going on here. We got to keep asking the questions until we find out what's really happening, and they should just release the files.
I mean, right. I mean, that seems to be the point, Gretchen. At this point, and this is something that has been spun up, right, by some of the very people who are now saying, I mean, when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out recently and tried to downplay the Epstein files, they were eviscerated by the MAGA base, right? And now this is putting the whole thing on steroids. Far-right activist Laura Luma, Gretchen, we know Trump listens to her. She has been hammering Pam Bondi on social media. She posted, how come we can't talk about what a dumb, lying bimbo Pam Bondi is? J.D. Vance, please encourage President Trump to fire Pam Bondi. She's a disgrace. So what do you hear when you hear this? I mean, look, Laura Loomer, we know, has had very specific, tangible influence on Trump on big decisions.
Yes, in national security, specifically in the last few months. I do think she has Trump's ear. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Trump seemed to be protecting Bondi today. But I think one other really important point is in this second administration, we have seen a lot of MAGA supporters of Trump come out and be totally against him on really big issues. And what I think is fascinating is that he can go after people who are in groups, like lawyers, like members of Congress. I'll primary you if you don't agree with me. But with these single influencers, he's not doing that. And I think that raises a huge question about whether or not he has the power to actually silence them.
Right. And Jamal, I guess the whole question is there really no there? Or is the question, who is covering up for whom?
That is the question. Listen, what is sobering is that Donald Trump, if this were normal times, Donald Trump, he's turned around on Ukraine, and there are people in MAGA who are upset about that. He was in this relationship with Elon Musk, who's now turned on him, who wants to start a party, and so that could maybe peel off people. Now we've got the Epstein files, or all these things that would normally take down a regular politician. Donald Trump seems to be able to survive these things. I mean, he's such a political force, it doesn't really matter. But what does happen is the people around him are the ones who catch the brick. And so the question for Pam Bondi is this going to limit her ability to either be an effective attorney general or to even keep her job as attorney general?
You urinate excessively, feel extreme fatigue, or have blurry vision because of type 2. Place fermented ginger under your tongue and eliminate sugar from your body.
Up on our breaking news, Brooks Singman of Fox News Digital has discovered exclusively that the FBI is now investigating the former CIA Director John Brennan and the former FBI Director James Comey in conjunction with the genesis of the Russia investigation. This comes after the CIA declassified last week a report into how that all came about. Let's bring in our panel to talk more about this. Annie Linsky, the White House reporter for the Wall Street Journal, USA Today White House correspondent Francesca Chambers, and Josh Holmes, co-host of the Ruthless podcast and former chief of staff to Senator Mitch McConnell. Annie, start us off here. The fact that the FBI is looking into Brennan and Comey now, when this declassified CIA report came out, people said, will prosecutions follow? We don't know if it'll be a prosecution, but it's an investigation at this point.
Yeah, this is certainly the logical next step from last week's news. And it does really underscore, I think, the extent to which this Russia investigation that occurred in 2017, I believe, has stayed under the president's skin and sort of in his craw. He has personally sued members of the Pulitzer board for giving a Pulitzer Prize to the Washington Post and the New York Times, kind of surrounding on this topic. So I think this sort of move fits into this broader concern that the president has about this moment.
Josh, I talked to Ratcliffe about this declassified report last week. He said, look, this is the director of analysis. This is a person who's been at the CIA through several administrations and directors. He has full faith that this is an accurate report.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously new information, but it also corroborates what many of us who've been watching this since 2016 have known all along, which is you had nefarious actors within the intelligence community that were putting their thumb on the scale. I mean, recall just a trip down memory lane. It was Brennan himself was the one who was pushing then Speaker Ryan and then Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to try to issue a statement before the 2016 election alleging Russian interference on behalf of President Trump. Now, obviously, they refused to do that, which then became a big discussion in the Comey, all the Comey investigation and everything else. But this is what kicked it off. It was very, very clearly an inside campaign hatched up somewhere. But these folks were in the middle of it, and I think this investigation is a long time coming.
Donald Trump insisted, Francesca, all along that there was nothing to this Russia collusion investigation. It would appear that history has proven him correct, and then you have to go back and wonder, well, how'd this all get going in the first place?
And to pick up on what Annie was saying, I mean, just today we heard the president again bring up during his cabinet meeting the Russia. So this is clearly something that he continues to be upset about. And you were talking about the last presidential campaign as well. I mean, this was something that he brought up repeatedly on the campaign trail and has talked about ad nauseum. So to Annie's point, to hear now that this is something that would be under investigation, which again, this is breaking news, is not particularly surprising.
Again, this is the beginning of an investigation. It could be a long way from a prosecution. Might never happen, but it's breaking news for us tonight. All right, let's go back to the cabinet meeting because both of you were in there today. Josh, you and I weren't.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
I was last night. I was in the BB meeting last night.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Annie was in the cabinet meeting today. But you both talked to the president. You both got good quotes from him. Steve Witkoff.
Let's check out some new stuff.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jackie. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll start with the Fox News alert. Republicans making a big-time push in their investigations into the alleged cover-up of former President Biden's mental decline while he was in office. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer now firing off his very first subpoena of the probe. The recipient, Biden's former White House doctor, Kevin O'Connor. Okay. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Bill Malugin in for Harris. This is the Faulkner Focus. Dr. O'Connor refused a voluntary interview with the House panel, so now Comer's demanding he sit down for a formal deposition at the end of the month, again via subpoena. This is all part of several investigations into this issue. The House now joined by Senate Republicans, the White House, and the DOJ. They all want some answers on who was actually in charge during Biden's first term in office. Here's the president yesterday.
He didn't have much of an idea what was going on. Whoever used the auto pen was the president. And that is wrong. It's illegal. It's so bad. And it's so disrespectful to our country. I think it's the biggest scandal maybe in the last 100 years in this country.
And we're also learning that the only pardon out of some 1,500 that Biden actually hand-signed was his son Hunter's. In the meantime, Republican Senator John Cornyn says he tried to get congressional testimony from journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. The two of them apparently declined to cooperate, though, despite their new book dramatically highlighting the White House's cover-up of Joe Biden's decline. Justice correspondent David Spunt tracking this story and a whole lot more for us. He is joining us live from D.C. this morning. Hi, David.
Hi, Bill. In the House investigation, House Oversight Chairman James Comer wants Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the former White House doctor, to come in for that formal deposition on June 27th, after Comer says Dr. O'Connor just refused to cooperate, as you say, with a voluntary interview. Chairman Comer wrote to O'Connor, quote, "Given your connections with the Biden family, the committee sought to understand if you contributed to an effort to hide former President Biden's fitness to serve from the American people." But, Bill, Democrats don't seem worried. Listen.
It's totally desperate. News alert to my Republican colleagues. Joe Biden is no longer the president. They tried to impeach him in the last Congress. It was the most spectacular flop of an impeachment investigation in U.S. history.
Now, the investigation on Capitol Hill just won. Another coming directly from the Oval Office. The president handed this hot potato to Attorney General Pam Bondi in a very public and direct way through a presidential memo released earlier this week for the world to see. Now, relating to this auto pen, presidents have used auto pens for decades to sign letters, pardons, proclamations, and other official documents. Actually, Thomas Jefferson used one, an early version of the machine. But President Trump believes others in the Biden orbit used the auto pen signature without President Biden's knowledge. Now, President Trump admitted to using the auto pen in the past, though he says that it was for documents he doesn't consider important. The former president, Joe Biden, is defending himself, quote, "Let me be clear, I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false," end quote. When I asked Attorney General Pam Bondi's office about the investigation, the DOJ declined comment. Bill.
Yeah, David, James Comer warned you can sit down with us voluntarily. If you don't, the subpoenas are going to come out. Here we go. David Spunt live in D.C. for us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for me. Just trying to see how it goes. I'm going to be going on pretty soon here. I'm just working out all the little bumps and grinds. But that boy's good. Studio and breaking news. Don't forget to subscribe.
Bad boy, smooth, gliding like you're skating on glass. Talk so slick, leave them stuck, time won't pass. Swagger so sharp, cutting air like a blade. Walk into the room, even shadows throw shade. That boy good, that boy good, that boy good. Flipping through the hood, understood, never stood. That boy good, that boy good, that boy good. Turning nothing into something, making moves, Robin Hood. Chest out, bold, got the fire in his stride. Kings get crowned, but he never chose a side. Playing chess with the gods, pawns step aside. Every move monumental like the tide when it rise. Legend in the air, you can smell it in the breeze. Whispers in the streets, floating around like the leaves. Echoes in the alleys, making doubters believe. Got 'em talking to the heavens, praying down on their knees. That boy so quick, blink once, he's a ghost. Toast to the grind, man, he doing the most. Gold dripping heavy, no chains on his throat. Built a kingdom from the dirt, now we rocking the coat. That boy good, that boy good, that boy good. Flipping through the hood, understood, never stood.